Hello everyone, I'm Simone, tech specialist at Kiloview. Hope everyone can hear me and see my video feed as well. In today's webinar, we're gonna have a look on a few firmware updates we have got for our product lineup, specifically for the Cube series, the P series, the N series, and so on. So we're gonna have a Q&A session at the end of my speech. So whatever you got with some question, feel free to put it in the Q&A section and in the chat. We're gonna answer with you later on. All right, let's first have a look on the Cube series. In the specific, gonna start with the X1. So X1 is our router system, as many of you already knows. Basically, we can route NDI inputs to NDI outputs, and we have done some recent updates. The firmware we are supporting right now is the 1.10.0.100. You can check. We have a few new sub-menu on the system. This is a global configuration, and I'll show you in a second what we can do with that. Then we have some further solutions that enable like some sort of redundancy system plus a pre-parsing mode, and we have a network tab available in the web UI. So from now on, you can decide to do everything directly from the web UI, especially for the network interface. All right, let's have a look first on a basic control. As you know, we have our input tab and our output tab. And basically speaking, now we are able to adding sources. For example, let me add a few sources in here. And we have a cool search bar. So for example, I'm gonna put the first letter. You're gonna see I've been able to basically do a searching into my NDI already ingested the sources, okay? Both on the input side and on the output side. Let's do some super simple routing. For example, we're gonna have this cross routing tab. And if we go back into the basic menu, now we've been able to create preset configuration. So if I click on the add configuration, for example, I'm gonna put preset 1. I'm gonna save the exact situation of the unit being within the routing and all the input, the ingested sources. And then I can basically go in the cross point, for example. Let's say we want to select this input to all the outputs at the same time. We've been able to be back on the basic tab and, for example, doing preset 2. All right, so now, of course, we are in the preset 2 because we are doing this setup control panel, okay? But if we want, we can instantly change it to preset number 1 by just clicking on apply. So when you use this, you're gonna be kicked out for the main web UI, and you have a waiting time. But after you do that, especially if you have lots of signal all at once, it's a pretty interesting feature. So you can have, like, for example, all the 16 to 32 output. And as you can see, I've been able to change my setup all at once instead of doing manually. Regarding though this pre-parsing mode, indeed, pre-parsing allows us to basically reduce the consume of the bandwidth our X1. So as you notice here, for example, we got an ingest of almost around 400 megabits per second. And as you know, the X1 is basically routing all your signals. So for example, if I start to the coding with a studio monitor, you're going to see some bandwidth occupation in the X1. So what we can do now is we can enable this pre-parsing. We can basically disable it in order to reduce the actual solution in terms of bandwidth network consumption. As you see, we drop down from basically 400 megabits to aroundish 50 megabits now, 60, because we just have those few, basically we do have those few previews in the preview tab, okay? So if we be back in here and I will launch again the studio monitor, you will notice also in terms of bandwidth consumption, we just consume for the stream we are actually outputting. And this is pretty much this function. We do have another function that will be ready later on and be introduced later on with the newer N60 and N50's firmware update. Basically, we'll be able to stack and daisy chain 2 control units at the same time. This will still require an update of N50 and N60, but basically you will be able to do a redundant system with our Cube series in the future. Okay, that being said, let's have a look on the other Cube product, which is the R1. The R1 is our NDI and NDI HX recorder, as you may know. And so let's jump into the web UI. Okay, so we have introduced several new features on R1. Specifically in the web UI, we're now being able to do many of the things you already do in the hardware unit. As you can see, we can select all the transcoding method from here, the format selection, the schedule start and stop, the storage, and the method mechanism of the recording. So we have local alternate while you use the first drive and the second drive in terms of secondary backup archivation store. And on the dual disk backup, you're gonna record simultaneously on both the 2 disks. And then we have a NAS backup feature, which basically record locally on 1 drive and a backup source recording into your NAS storage. We also have the possibility now to formatting the disk directly from the web UI. So if, for example, I click formatting here, is exactly the same thing of doing that from the front panel. We now have a cleared overview of the working mode. So basically speaking, we have dedicated and record playback. In dedicated mode, as you can see, the drop-down menu of the transcoding has been disappeared because we're gonna record directly into NDI high bandwidth. And now, just to be clarifying to you, the new dedicated mode is able to record up to 9 feed of high bandwidth NDI up to 4K, while the transcoding option will give you the opportunity still to use NDI high bandwidth up to 9 feet, or the transcoding capability H.26X or H.26X will be limited to 4 channel at 4K and 9 feed at 1080p. So in this specific, I want to show you also another cool feature introduced into this new firmware update. If we go into the source menu, we're going to select, for example, the four source solution. Let me put like our camera in here, for example. So we have 4 different sources. Okay. So basically speaking, now we're able to record all the 4 feeds simultaneously, or activate the recording for each of the signals. So you see there's a red rec button in the bottom of the source itself. And if I click it in here, of course, during to NDI, we don't have a preview, but let me show you better into the interface of the unit. As you can tell from here, we are recording, and you got the timeline recording number going on. If you go on the second one, you see it's telling us, the unit is telling us the unit is recording one of the sources, but not this second source, because the time is still at 0 point. We can click again, and on the right side, there's a start record button. And if I start to record, you see the rec button appeared on both of the two. Okay, we can simply tap on the screen once again with the right side. There's a button to stop the recording. Okay, we can do the same thing at the other sources. And you can see now record playback is appeared again. So what we can do is basically we can trigger the unit in just signal, like for example 3 signal and not the 4th one. And if we want, we can still being able to long press the stop button for 5 seconds and stop the recording all at once. So if I long press for 5 seconds, you're gonna see we are saved the recording and we are ready to go. Okay, let me show you something in the web UI once again, especially for the FTP transfer, which is a really cool addition. So basically now we're able to send this signal to an FTP storage, whether to be on the cloud or on premise. So if you go in the setting menu, in the network storage, you see there's both the NAS storage, which is our local area network storage machine, or the FTP cloud. For this specific tutorial, I want to show you how to actually install an FTP cloud easily. So let me show you this one, which is really cool. We're gonna use this automatic script, and we're gonna pass this through in the web chat if you wish. Basically speaking, we can open the terminal of our remote solution where we want to install the FTP server. We just paste the link, and as you have been able to do with our container, for example, we're gonna deploy this FTP server. I'm gonna press enter. I'm gonna give it a name for my FTP server, and I can choose the password, I can choose the web port, and I will do everything completely automatically for you. Okay, so once this will be deployed, you will be able to triggering your recording directly from the R1. For this specific task, I want also to show you, for example, a record playback mode. Let's try to do something very simple. I will put the one source. We're gonna record one clip in H.26X. Let me clean the disk first, so I will show you in a second. I can format the disk. And we're gonna record one NDI high bandwidth and one H.26X to show you the FTP sending solution. I'm gonna record simply something like 10 seconds to see how fast it is then to send your source directly to the cloud. Sorry, I can stop it. And then let's say I want to use the dedicated mode to do the full NDI recording, okay? So I'm gonna record one clip in full NDI and one clip in H.26X. All right, let's stop this one. If I go into the playback tab and select my my disk 2 where I've recorded the unit, we're gonna have both the MOV file, and we're gonna have also the H.26X. H.26X can be played out directly from here. But let's see, we want a copy in the cloud for future reference. You see, in the meanwhile, I've deployed my FTP server. Simple as that. Copy and paste onto your browser your latest IP address given by the terminal. And now we come back in the R1, select the clips. And now we have this upload to FTP. We have already settled everything in the FTP server. So if I press OK, it will be waiting for the upload. And as you can see, we already, with a good internet connection, we have already uploaded the file to our FTP server. If I refresh the page, you will see I have the possibility, especially for the high bandwidth, to click on it and it will automatically download the clip for me. Or if we are using H.26X or H.26X, you will be able to basically play out your clip directly into the web browser. Okay, this is really handling. If you want to transfer this file with editors and so on, they can just simply access your FTP server and download the clip right away from your R1. Okay, so that's how you set up the FTP server, and here in the setting is really simple to add it. You can see in the setting just needed the IP address, the port, the username and password, and the directory of your folder, which is still being shown in here in the automatic script deployment. So super easy to do. Then I think we're gonna pass through another feature over the P3 this time. So let me jump back to the P3. As you can see, I'm taking the feed of my camera in SDI, but as you know, we have introduced other features such as USB feature camera for the P3. So what we can actually do, and let me show you this by this camera angle. Maybe it's easier for you. As you can notice, I've connected mini HubSpot PTZ camera in USB to the P3. So what I can do is go into the video source inputs, and unless just having HDMI and SDI, now we have USB camera. And if I zoom in into this section, you can see we now have the possibility to choose the encoding of the specific USB webcam or PTZ camera and select the frame rate and the canvas resolution. In this specific, for example, I'm gonna use 1080p 50 for this PTZ, and I'm gonna click OK. As you notice, this is the camera looking at me, pointing at my desk. But we have another cool feature in the PTZ settings, you can see the PTZ control now has the PTZ network, serial, and even USB via web control. So what it means is actually as it follows. Let me zoom in into the small camera here. So we can go back into the home of our P3 Mini. Let me move this around. So you can notice with the control of the web UI, I've been able to move my USB PTZ cam. Cool, huh? So basically with one single cable, especially in those situations where you have to put a really small, tiny camera like OBSBot, Insta360, GoPro, and so on, even if they have, for example, digital zoom or something like that, you can still use it, the control via the P3 and P3 Mini, and you will be able also to, after firmware update, control this directly to the Kilolink server. So let me show you also another cool feature we have introduced specifically for the P3 and P3 Mini. Many of you had asked for something like, I want to know whether my bonding backpack is available with the signal or not. So we've introduced this new feature. Okay, sorry for the lights, but just to let you understand, this is the P3. I can now basically remove the cable, and as you can see, there's a super handling thumbnail. I can put this still image, so whenever I go, for example, on the Kilolink Server Pro, let me show you this. I now being able to know whether or not my bonding backpack has received the signal from the ingested camera or not. Okay, so basically speaking, as far as I reconnect the SDI or the HDMI or the USB, you see the signal appear directly into Kilolink server. So this is really helpful, especially if you need to, monitoring more than one bonding backpack at the same time. And in order to make this happen, you go into the setting tab and you go into presetting. And in the presetting, you have this static frame proxy broadcast. You can upload up to 1080p PNG, JPEG, and so on, PNG file. So you can modify with Photoshop and do your own custom layout and use this as a solution to know whether your bonding backpack is actually online or not. We also have introduced another feature being requested from you guys, the possibility to record directly MPEG-4, MOV, and now also MPEG-TS directly into the bonding backpack. So now you have MPEG-TS possibility, exactly like all the other solution in the market right now. And we have introduced another option here, which is the follow SDI timecode. So with a follow SDI timecode, if you have a capable SDI camera with the control for the record start and stop, you've been able basically to trigger on and off directly your solution in terms of streaming and recording for the bonding backpack. Okay, let's move forward and let's have a look now on N60, for example. So as you might notice here, I got an N60 in the coding mode, and we are actually showing for a few trade shows that we've introduced HDR capability. So as you might notice here, I'm using a test pattern from NDI, and in decoding mode, you can notice I'm decoding that test pattern. And now you have a super handling HDR logo in the source you are decoding. So basically speaking, in between N50s and N60, now you've been able to do a direct HDR422 transcoding, which is really cool, especially in the quality-wise. Whenever you are broadcasting very important contents, you can still have HDR with a color format BT 2020. And I want also to show in the setting we have done the same thing about all the other products like E3 and so on, about having the backup and restore configuration possibility. So basically speaking, if I have multiple sources, for example, in here, and I want to save those as a sort of preset to then apply this one, for example, to other decoders or other N60, N50, and so on, I can go into the setting menu, and with the presetting now, I can basically copy and paste this parameter all at once and even decide what I want to save into it. So let's say, for example, I want to select all, and I'm gonna call it like N60 presets. So if I click on download, I basically directly download I'm gonna click in here and download my file. Then it could be basically re-imported directly in here, okay? So I can import this into different N60 or N50s, and I can simply do that and gonna reboot the device and charge all the options for you into the new encoder, decoder. So another really important feature we've added, and many customers hadn't really maybe played around, is the NDI bridge capability. So our N60 and N50 can basically now be turned into both LAN and internet solution all at once within the powerful NDI bridge. So let me show you how to do this really quickly. If we go into the setting menu, especially in encoder mode, we are able to do basically join mode in NDI bridge embedded solution. So if you go into the setting and open NDI setting, you will see there will be an NDI bridge button to enable or disable. Let me open the virtual machine where we're gonna do this test. For example, this is a cloud instance cluster machine I got running onto Windows. Okay, so it's in idle mode and is waiting for some clients to be connected to. Of course, you have to remind yourself to enable at least NDI-HX or NDI plus NDI-HX to do the transcoding option for the NDI bridge. Once you do that, so you simply fill what do you want to send to the NDI bridge host, give it a name, the IP address, the server port open, and the encryption key. Then you click on apply, and there will be a few seconds waiting time to establish the handshaking between the encoder and the decoder. So basically speaking, once the unit is connected, you will be able to get the signal not only into the local area network, like for example, if I take this one, you can tell I'm already here in the local area network, but you can basically connect to the remote instance and getting the source completely remotely. So let me check this one. This again. Here you go. So you see, bridge is active with one client connection. What it means now in this remote server, I will have this N50 bridge, and this N50 bridge will get around the signal from the N50 coming from the local area network. So here we go. So as you can see, there's a little bit of latency, of course, compared to the voice you're hearing, but it's transiting into the internet. And in the specific, I'll put it in 100 millisecond latency to the end host side. But this is really cool, especially because it enables you to have both the local area network NDI feed plus the over the internet solution all in the same package through the firmware update. So aside from that, I probably want to show another feature of the Kilolink Server Pro, which is still interesting and very promising for the future reference over the bonding backpack capability. I still remind everyone that we are still the only company offering the NDI HX transcoding directly into the server. So whether you have a P3 or P3 mini, you've been able to trigger NDI HX directly from the server. So if you want to use that directly cloud production and basically having just solution to just while using one Ethernet cable, you can do that. So as you can tell, I'm here within a single NDI HX, and I'm receiving the bonding backpack solution all at once. That being said, we also have added a few other protocol, especially we have put it HLS and TS-UDP directly into the unit. So now from the Kilolink server, you can also create HLS playlists to be in playout with VLC or any other HLS player in the local area network. So that being said, I think I give you a brief overview of what are our new updates on the gamut of products we have. I rather ask maybe that you to help me out getting all the questions to our Q&A. So let's have a look in the chat to see what's going on. So where we go? Will the Cube being able to do NDI output? I think this is another option we are gonna evaluating in terms of bandwidth and power possibility of the unit. But I'm pretty sure maybe one channel can be done in the future. We can definitely insert it into the roadmap as a possible solution to get one NDI output for the R1. Let's see, maybe Dayo, if you can help me with that, because I see there's a lot of question. If I miss something, I'm sorry, but let's see. Either there's a hardware panel cross point routing on the X1. Well, we are working, actually speaking, to simplify all the APIs for our product in the way that all the product lineup, you know, from Cube Series P3, P3 Mini and Series are a little bit different kind of products, but now we are simplifying the backend APIs to be also compatible and easy integration with third-party plugins. So the answer is actually yes. We are, of course, in our roadmap to adding the possibility to have third-party controller routing and control our product lineup. So let's move forward. What we got. Okay, about the user configuration on the Cube. So basically, the Cube can have multiple user and member. If you go on the Add Member menu, you can create different users. So for example, I'm gonna do something really silly, but just for that you understand how it works, you can put it as an administrator or not, and this user can also apply whether, as you can see, it's very actually it's very thought in terms of a situation where you want to get in administration, the accessibility to firmware update or not, and I can create apply and create another user. So wait a second. Basically, I can create anyways multiple, oh, sorry, because I got the unit stuck now. But basically, you can create multiple members and, of course, multiple access to the same X1 solution. And what do we have? Oh, sure. We can show this up. Thank you, Carl, to remind me. We do have the solution for net stream over N50 and N60. Sorry again, guys, got some overall. Going on here. Yes, anyways, we can now doing net streaming within the N60s and N50s. So we are now able to do SRT, RTMP, and all these other codec solution all at once. Some network issues, unfortunately, now, so got difficult to show you in real life solution for that. But definitely you can check all our videos on the social media platform to check this out. And you can still use N50s and N60s as your Kiloview product to make interlace, for example, which is a nice feature everyone asked for. So just take a look on it. And we talk about option roadmap for bulk configuration of NDI encoders and decoders. Actually, you might not seeing from here, but I got the idea is, of course, the Cradle RF02 will be our new product design to be enabled getting more inputs and outputs all together. So just I can give you a brief overview in terms of how Kiloview is actually thinking about the new system products, especially for the high density solutions. So let me just have a look on this. Okay, and probably we're gonna also do a further webinar and tutorial on this new platform, because we have shown throughout the recent trade show. So, but just to give you a brief idea of what Kiloview had working on the latest few months. This is the Cradle RF02, is the new system that housing up to 18 cards, whether to be encoder, decoders, media gateway, all at once, and it will be a unified on-premise solution for Kilolink Server Pro, basically. It's a more advanced, more powerful one unit capability solution, which is completely expandable over cards. As I said, there's 18 different possibility of cards. We are now out with FN50, FN60, and FMG400, which basically are our encoder decode cards and our media transcoder card. So, and then we'll be out really soon with a compute unit card in the x86 world. So you will be able to run not only encoder, decoder, and media gateway transcoder cards, but even full feature, basically laptop grade computer units all at once in the same 2-unit design for the Cradle RF02. And the cool part is, compared to the previous version, you don't need anything rather than one single cable to run everything through a single solution. So one single cable to the router, and then you're good to go with this kind of network stack environment. So let's see. Can the FTP upload be achieved via API? I really think so. Yes, definitely. You have the API option to trigger the FTP sending data. No problem with that. You're gonna send us an email to support@kiloview.com, and you're gonna have all the support from our technical engineer for that. Then what we're gonna have? Why I need Kiloview Multipro for using LinkDeck X1? Yeah, this is LinkDeck product is basically just a controller surface for our MultiView Pro software solution, but we are also thinking about new product design for the future. So that's a really old question, I think. Day 3. Okay, no, this is not you. Okay. All right. Already replied question. I don't know, Dayo, if you want to join via voice so you can help me with that, but I think I kind of covered everything. I'm still looking for some new question, but I ain't seen anything new in the chat. So, okay, guys. I hope you like this this webinar, and stay tuned for the next upcoming one for the Cradle RF02 system, where we're gonna show how to use basically the technology you always have known with the Kilolink Server Pro within this hardware solution all at once. And for this, I will thank you for the attention and see you in the next one. Bye.